Hello, everyone. Welcome to PEEKABOOS. This is our little film segment where we talk about movies that we just saw in theaters, scary movies specifically, and we tell you what we thought about them and whether or not we give you a recommendation. Spoiler alert, like if we're making the actual segment about it, it's probably something that we feel very strongly about. So first up on PEEKABOOS is Longlegs, made by the same dude that made The Blackcoat's Daughter, starring the lead girl from It Follows, and starring Nick Cage as the titular serial killer, Longlegs.
Peekaboo. So I think first we should give our overall ratings of the movie. So out of 10, how strongly did you feel about that in the category of horror?
Let's not do number ratings.
Okay.
Let's just do whether or not you should see it.
So if you love thrillers, absolutely recommend. Things I would compare it to would be like The Sixth Sense or The Alphabet Killer.
I will say, if you have seen The Blackcoat's Daughter, expect a similar vibe. In the same way that that movie wasn't outright like shock you out of your skin horror, it was more about building an atmosphere and then taking you somewhere very strange. Although I will say that the sound design is very
loud.
Yeah, it's in your face. It's oppressive. It's like an ASMR movie.
Yeah.
Like even things like the sound of shoes walking.
Rustling leaves when they were outside.
Yeah. The sound design is very intentionally intrusive.
I would say potent too.
Yeah.
It was just like bombarding your senses. And so at some points, most of the movie, I had my fingers very close to my ears because I don't like loud noises in general. And I feel like that's what this movie relied on heavily to scare its audience was all sound effects.
Not necessarily even jump scares either. It's just like the ramping up of tension to a fever pitch and then scaling it back down.
Yeah. Getting my heart rate above 100.
And while we're talking about just the aesthetic, I think it was very well shot too.
Oh, yeah.
Every time Nicolas Cage's Longlegs was on screen in the beginning, you couldn't get like a full shot of him.
Mm-hmm.
So the reveal of what he actually looks like is a startling thing.
Again, not to give any spoilers because we'll get to that later, but if you're a person who loves movies that make you look in the background, this is definitely one of those things that there could be something there.
A lot of times when they were focusing on a character, there would be an open doorway in the background.
Yeah.
And I think it was just to invite the possibility that, hey, there might be something back there or there may be some deeper.
It uses that same hereditary, like lines the shot up nicely for you, pans around.
Yeah, something is being communicated in the way that it's filmed. And
it's being manifested.
Yeah. So I, being the fucking horror geek that I am, would recommend that you go see it in theaters if you have even a passing interest in it. I think that it is a theater movie. You're going to get the most out of the experience in the theaters where there's a big screen, where there's maybe people around you, and where the sound can be as in control of your experience as humanly possible.
Gosh, I would have liked to turn that down like 2 clicks, but otherwise I also recommend to see it in the theater.
Did it remind you of Skinamarink in that way? Whereas if you watch the movie at home, you feel like your experience would have been entirely different.
Yes, 100%, because I would have just muted it. Like at home, I have safety guards on like how scared I'll let myself get. And easily at home, that is one of my go-to moves. Just turn that down.
Yeah. When you also have the ability to like just at any point just pick up your phone and dissociate from the movie, I feel like that also destroys horror specifically. Horror as a genre needs to build on that vibe throughout the movie. This is like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There's like the big scare and then it goes back down and then it has to rebuild all over again. And if you remove yourself from that process, it's just kind of So I definitely say check it out in theaters. I had a good time with it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
The cast was awesome.
Yeah. If we're talking about performances, everybody did very well, but Nick Cage, of course, was the standout.
Oh, I think Lee Harker was. Sorry.
That was the name of the character in the movie. I don't know the name of the actress. I'm getting to that age where I just don't know anymore.
Her name is... Oh, it says already watched. How did it know that? That's crazy. Okay. Micah Monroe? Is that how
Micah Monroe.
Micah.
So she was, like I said, the main girl in It Follows. She did a great job. Having only really recognized her in both of those movies, I'd say her strength, as far as I can tell, is portraying somebody that's a real human. They're not over-characterized.
I think that what she does best is portrays trauma. I mean, those characters are both heavily riddled with trauma, and I think that this role is a totally different character than the last. She's socially awkward and she's like...
She has a lot of like different facial tics.
Yes.
When you can tell she's like trying to figure out what to say or express.
Yeah, she's either quelling like her inside thoughts or trying to gather them to muster her next one. But I think she does both of those characters extremely well.
Yeah. She plays an FBI agent, of course, tasked on the Longlegs case, and it was kind of evocative of a Clarice Starling. I feel like any horror movie that's like detectives trying to find a serial killer will always invite those comparisons of like Hannibal Lecter or even Red Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely Hannibal Lecter vibes.
It also reminded me of Mindhunter a little bit too. I don't know if you watched that. But...
Parts of it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. But I'd say too that her reactions to things were very raw and genuine to the character. And I don't know how to say that better. Like, she plays a character very well. I haven't seen her much in interviews. I've seen her like once or twice. So I know that her mannerisms are different, which is why it's such a stark comparison how dedicated she is when she reacts as the character instead of herself.
And I guess while we're just complimenting things, I thought Nicolas Cage was stupendous.
Oh my gosh, he was incredible. I said when we left the theater that I think the only thing that I would have wanted more of was Longlegs, because Nicolas Cage sold that.
He's definitely like the special sauce in the movie. This is essentially Nicolas Cage's like Buffalo Bill, his like Freddy Krueger. I couldn't put my finger on all the things he reminded me of. The thing that first came to mind was like a really creepy older lady that you'd meet at like a church who's just eccentric and kind of touched in a weird way, but just makes you feel very uncomfortable. And then as like the movie went on, I got a little bit of Heath Ledger's Joker in there. You get a little bit of Hannibal Lecter.
I leaned over to you at some point and I said that he looks like the Jigsaw doll, just minus the red on the cheeks. I also, weirdly, as you were describing like the notes of other performers, I don't know why, but he kind of reminded me of like the Cowardly Lion in Wizard of Oz. He's just got like those cheeks like that. And
lips,
it was also just like cowardly, weird, strange, peculiar responses.
That was one of my favorite things about the performance. You never knew what he was about to do.
Yeah.
The character was so eccentric and almost like campy. The way he would gesture his body or talk, or you would go to like a yell or a scream or like even sing at you. It was like satanic Mr. Rogers.
It was unnerving.
Way.
Yeah. To
or
say
satanic
the
Pee Wee Herman. But yeah,
Mr.
to
Rogers
just circle around to like what we overall thought before we go into more spoiler talk, I'd say go see it in theaters.
I'd say go see it, but if you have been watching the previews, trailers, TikToks, Reels, whatever social media you use, for me, I think that it did not quite portray the same in the advertisements, but I don't have a complaint about the movie other than it didn't quite live up to what I thought was going to happen, but it wasn't a bad movie by any means.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
Yeah, call it a flaw of the marketing that they were trying to portray it as like the next newest, scariest thing to ever hit theaters.
I mean, because that marketing was crazy for that.
But I think it was also appropriately abstract in the same way that the movie was. The one that you would see on like Reddit or TikTok was like the actress Micah Monroe. I don't know how to say it. Her first in-person scene with Nicolas Cage and the Longlegs makeup. It was like how hard her heart was beating against her chest that entire scene.
Yeah, they said that
she was like heading into the scene.
Her resting heart rate normally is in the 70s, and when she walked into the room with him, it was like 120, 150. I don't even remember how fast it was, but it was well over 100, and that was just like her heart rate for seeing him in that makeup the first time, because they didn't let her see him before that moment. My brain just started piecing together a story with the abstractness of the advertising that I created my own movie in my head.
Yeah, that is the biggest opponent to something's success in media specifically is when the marketing or advertising or just the things around the movie help you establish a picture and a narrative that the overall movie just doesn't live up to. I wouldn't say it was like that for me. I kind of got exactly what I wanted.
Also, shouts out to the lady that played the mom. I don't have her name in front of me either, but the cast was crazy amazing. And without spoilers, she did exactly
not a bad performance.
Exactly what she needed to.
But that's kind of also what you expect in a film like this too, because it's a very niche vision involved, and you know that the creative mind behind it is a sharpshooter with picking out the talent for this movie. So it's like a fruit basket of great performances, filmed very well. The sound mixing is crazy. Do you think they should see it in theaters, or do you think they could get away with like a rental?
No, I think the experience is in theaters. As much as I didn't enjoy the volume of the movie, I think that's the way you're supposed to experience it.
Theaters are dying. You might not be able to see movies in theaters for very much longer.
It's true.
Unanimously, first Peekaboo, see it in theaters.
Yeah. Let's get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it at this point, stop, pause this.
We're going to give a little countdown. This is effectively the end of our Peekaboo for you if you don't want it to get spoiled on the movie. 3, 2, 1.
Peekaboo.
Satan is back, baby. So there is a lot of thematic carry through and maybe even narrative carry through on Blackcoat's daughter and Longlegs. Satan, exactly as he was portrayed at the end of the Blackcoat's daughter. Do you remember that iconic shot at the end of the movie of him standing next to the boiler that the girl's praying to? Yeah, the little crazy serial killer girl. She was like praying to a boiler for a lot of the movie. And at the end, like you can kind of see like the big hunched up goat Satan. The black coat, I suppose. And that's that exact imagery of Satan appears a number of times in the movie because Nicolas Cage's character, Longlegs, is a Satanist, a very devout Satanist. Mm-hmm. And it's so creepy how Nick Cage portrays him because in times when there's like no one else around him, it seems like he's like just a limp doll.
Yeah.
And then he kind of animates the moment somebody comes in the room with him.
The thing that's most terrifying to me about Nicolas Cage's performance, and I think earlier when I was referencing the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz, this was where it was coming from, but it is so childlike, the way that he sings and talks and dances and like, ooh, and he like moves his arm like a little kid. Or
Teddy Perkins. Do you remember Teddy Perkins from Atlanta? Donald
yes,
Glover doing the white faces, that old white millionaire. It's kind of a little bit of that too. There's a little bit of like Michael Jackson in there.
Well, I think you said it best when you were talking about Pee Wee Herman. It's just like the weird movements. He would just like move his hands and play peekaboo, but he'd say cuckoo. Like he just did like very strange, childlike exploration with his hands, words, and body that just was like unnerving.
Someone asked him a question and then he just broke into a song about the answer, and it was so creepy.
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily do a complete plot overview, but I think we should definitely talk about the dope
basics.
Highlights. I thought the way that the murders were constructed was very interesting. There's no evidence that Longlegs himself enters the household, but the entire family is killed by the father.
And then there's a note left from Longlegs.
There's a note left from Longlegs, and that is the only evidence that he was even involved.
It draws me back to Criminal Minds. There's an episode, I think it's a 2-parter episode, where specifically there is a murderer who does that exact thing. He'll get houses that had dogs to let him crawl into the doggy door, unlock the door, go inside, and he would hide, and he would wait, and he would force the families to have dinner with him, and then he would do the whole same thing. Dad would kill everybody, and then he would kill the dad.
Yeah. The notes he would leave were also in a coded language, akin to the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
So it's like mysteries on mysteries, and as the movie starts to go on, you get to see there's a paranormal connection there too. But it's portrayed so oddly realistically, but surreally, that you just feel so uncomfortable the entire time because you never know what's coming next.
Yeah, you're trapped between, is this real or is this ethereal, religious? Like, what's happening here? Is this something man-made? Is Longlegs just like this psychotic serial killer, or is there some kind of help from a source beyond?
The man downstairs,
yeah. That's what he calls him, the man downstairs.
Longlegs also just reminds me of like a 150-year-old Marilyn Manson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like droopy like that.
Like old man face.
I think it's just because he's pale. I think that's all.
I think there's a little bit more there too. I remember there's a Marilyn Manson song about he's like, I don't need no God looking down on me. I got the devil keeping me warm from right below my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of reminded me of when Longlegs was like, I got the man downstairs.
Yeah.
Mr. Downstairs is on my side. The movie, unfortunately, is very dense too, so I have no doubt that there are some plot points we definitely missed.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And honestly, like in just the way that the sound was mixed too, it was kind of hard to hear dialogue at certain points, especially when Nick Cage as Longlegs was talking.
Holy cow. I literally was having to look away from his face to try to hear him. And I don't know if that makes sense to the girlies.
He was very visually intense too.
Well, but like the girlies who have to like turn down their radio to park their car or like do anything where you have to like focus on one sense at a time. But like I could not look at him and try to understand him because his lips were giving me nothing. And I teach sign language at school. So like lip reading is a very large part of sign language for folks who don't know, but you couldn't get anything from his facial expression or from his mouth making words. So I would have to look away to try to figure out what he was mumbling or singing. I mean, some of it was just gibberish.
Another influence that this movie clearly had was Seven.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point in the movie where Longlegs turns himself in.
Yeah.
And it's actually part of his plan to do that.
Yes.
They're doing an interrogation. Creepily enough, he's being detained below. They're in a conference room right above him, and they're watching a recording they just took of him. And he's just like babbling on about random nonsense. And then he starts singing Happy Birthday to Harker. And there's a part where he's just like looking around at people in the room. He's like, and you, and you, and you.
Yeah, and then he clearly looks at the camera in a way that like looks directly off of the TV at Lee Harker, and everybody in the room is like, how does he know where she is standing in our room?
So she ends up going down to his interrogation room. He spouts more cryptic bullshit, and then he just pieces out in front of her.
Well, so before he does that, the reason that she is so amped up about talking to him is because she knows he did not do this by himself. Nobody would let him rightfully into their homes and trust him. So he had to have an unassuming partner. And so she snuck in there without anybody's permission. And then homie like starts quoting satanic stuff to her and then just starts like nose diving his face onto the table, crushing everything. And they show you very viscerally his bludgeoned nose. It's horrible.
Yeah, he says, even though I'm trapped here, I'll soon be a part of everything.
Yeah.
Which is just a weird person thing to say right before you die, but there's also the feeling that if he's actually connected to Satan in a real way, he might actually ephemerally have a strange influence after his own death.
Do you wonder, though, does Satan really hold that power, or are they false promises that if you do my work, then I'll give you these things?
I don't fucking know, dude. Everyone started acting weird as shit after
It's true.
he died, so...
It's
but
true.
The best thing about Longlegs as a villain and antagonist is that they don't give you any more information than what you need.
Yeah, I mean, the little clips they give of him in his little bachelor pad in the basement of the house, which you don't know until later, but holy cow. I mean, him just being down there is like just serial killer vibes.
Yeah. So, his whole thing is that he is a doll maker. That is what he does. He's apparently made a doll for all of the daughters in these families.
Yeah.
I think he committed more than 7 murders, but I think he's made like 7 dolls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was some allegory to the 7-headed beast coming out of
yes.
in Revelation.
Yes.
Yeah. And after she can't kill the doll, it flashes back to Nick Cage as Longlegs in the detaining cell, and he just goes, "Hail Satan!" And that's it.
And he get a little kiss.
That's all, folks. That's all, folks. That's the whole fucking movie, and then you're see you later, guys.
Yeah,
hope
and then
you
you're
had
just
fun.
Done.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So the things that I want to know is, again, the ball really has me confused. I'm perplexed. Is the essence of Satan in the ball, or is it in the doll? That's my question. Ball
I think
or
it's
doll?
in the ball. I think the ball is like the epicenter of evil, but I also don't think it's like actually Satan's essence. I think it's just a void.
How did Lee's doll not being destroyed give her some kind of power? Was it a gift because the mom was doing something?
It's connected to Satan in a way. The construction of these dolls is satanic in a sense.
I know,
is satanic magic involved in these dolls.
None of the other girls had any kind of gifts.
Sure they did. The one that survived did. She had a connection to Longlegs.
That's fair.
Yeah. The first girl,
Carrie Ann,
when she woke up from her little comatose state, she's very definitely out of her mind. just the way she was talking was so, she's like, I'd be pleased as peaches to just jump across this room and kill you with my bare hands.
Or I'd be pleased as peaches to jump out the window and splatter myself on the sidewalk, which is what she did.
Which is her ultimate fate, for sure. But it's clear that she is in commune with whatever supernatural element was afflicting her.
Yeah.
The Satan. So yeah, that's Longlegs. Any final thoughts on this bad boy?
I think, again, my only critiques are that I wanted more Nick Cage. Especially the last scene. That's what I wanted more from the movie. It's just that silly, goofy, I have the answers, you don't, I can just be silly boy. He was crazy and unnerving, but I think that there could have been more.
And that's a feeling I was left with at the end of The Black Goat's Daughter, too. I don't know if I just didn't understand what the movie was trying to sell me on, what was being explained to me, but I felt like I just didn't get enough of it to really draw a complete conclusion. And maybe that's by design. Maybe you're not supposed to be able to see all the edges of the puzzle, just so you have something to chew on for a bit.
And earlier we were talking about the cameos in the background. I think I counted it. And I don't know if it's just thematic, which of course that's their thing. I think the Satan silhouette with the horns came in 6 times in the background.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Which would be thematically appropriate with these 6 or 7 girls apparently ushering in something.
Right. 6 days within the birthdays. I think there's lots of symbolism and symmetry in this that I think watching it the first time.
Repeat viewings.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you're still putting things together as you're watching it. We might have missed count. I don't know.
Yeah, even listening to you talking about it gives me insight on thoughts that I had during the movie. So even if you only see it one time, just like sitting down and chewing on it is very helpful.
Yeah, and I think I would definitely like to see it again.
Yeah.
Now that I know what to expect, I can kind of dive in deeper to what's already there.
That, and I'd be interested now that we've advised you to see it in a theater, whether or not the experience is different at home. A second viewing is always a different vibe, but I wonder if it's not as unnerving here as it was there.
But overall, I had a very good time with Longlegs. This might be the biggest horror movie of the year so far. We got Alien Romulus coming up. Who's the girl that played Jules in Euphoria?
Oh, yeah.
Hunter. What was the name of the horror movie?
It was another neon movie. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Evil, See No Evil?
No, that was another preview, of course.
Oh, for
James
a neon
McAvoy's in like a American remake of See No Evil.
Yeah.
Or Speak No Evil?
I don't know. It's Here,
Something.
Speak or See. Yeah, it's one of the evils.
Yeah. I feel like Skinamarink was the last huge fun horror movie we saw in theaters. That was beginning of 2023?
Yeah. Either that or the end of 2022.
Honestly,
I think it was November.
Skinamarink was supposed to be the first Peekaboo when we attempted to do a movie review.
Well, we actually did make it, but it was off. So
we actually went back and tried to record right after the movie, but Olivia's mic was off. So it would just be me talking, then you hear her like... Yeah, it's like,
Sad
that
face.
would be thematically appropriate considering how the movie works, but...
That's true, because that's what that movie does to you. It messes with you. If I gave Skinamarink I know this is for Longlegs, but Skinamarink for me was easily a 9 in the horror category. This for me was a 7.
Yeah, I don't like number reviews, but for Skinamarink, that was like an 11 out of 10 experience seeing it in theaters just because it mimicked the themes of the movie so appropriately.
I was scared shitless.
The whole movie was essentially about being held hostage to a malevolent, monstrous entity that wants to toy with you and like break you and put you back together as many times as it wants. And how tough it is to actually pay attention to that movie with the weird way that it's shot, the weird way that its sound is done. You feel like you're being held hostage in a theater too. And it's my favorite horror movie experience in a theater.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'd recommend seeing it outside of that exact
They only
context.
had it in the theater for like 2 days. It was like 1 or 2 days that you could go.
So you missed it, folks. You missed it. The cool thing, the ship has sailed, and you're never going to get it or understand it in the way that it was actually meant to be digested. And you're just not part of the cool kids club.
I honestly think that movie, I have a lot of irrational fears, but I think that movie is now why I have an irrational fear that there's always something behind me in the movie theater.
Yeah. Skinamarink was crazy.
So crazy. And I remember walking out of there feeling terrified. It was late at night when we saw it too. So I remember walking back to the car and I was just like peering over my shoulder, which like if you watch the movie, you know that's not going to do you any good. It's going to get you whether or not.
Yeah. It was a 9:00 showing. I think we got out there at like 11:30 and we were just sizzling.
Nope. We slept with a light on that night because I was like, absolutely not.
That was a wild movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for listening to our very first Peekaboo. We'll be back shortly as soon as there's another good horror movie.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Neon has a lot of stuff going on, so I am very intrigued to see what these next couple are like.
Yeah. Looks like we might be getting some fun horror movies.
Yeah, I'm
That's all we
hoping
can
so.
hope. So we'll see you next time, folks. Bye.
Peekaboo.